When I'm up through the night, I can't turn down the noise, tear all the worries out of my mind. About who I'm supposed to be, I start to believe I can't get it right. Remember the days I let slip away, they were simpler times. Mama told me before you leave, if there's only one thing you remember from me, child, when you're out on your own, a million miles from home, feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. Child, don't forget who you are, don't lose your head or your heart. I'll bet my life on your stars, you'll be dancing, dancing on the moon. I'll bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. I'll bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. I'll bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. Dancing on the moon. Dancing on the moon. Maybe my compass was wrong, and I'm still on my way, closer to where I
Wat? Hey julle. Hoe is julle dag? Dis ek jammer ek is bietjie laat begin. Ons moet dadelik begin oefen.
Mama told me before you leave.
Ga kyk wat gaan nie aan. Laat ons kyk wat gaan nie aan. Ai. Sê Dakkie, welkom. Cryptic, welkom by die stream. Jacklas, Jaden, Get Lethal, welkom. Xbox Series X opinie. Weet jy, ek is nie 'n Xbox fan nie. So ek weet nie, ek sal op Xbox speel en so aan, maar ja. Ey Gila, ek sal 8:30 hier wees. Ek wil graag saam. Dis 100% Jaden, asseblief gaan ondersteun daarso. Hey Gilo, wat jy dag? Was okay, dankie, besig. Joune? Hierdie baan lyk anders. En jammer, ek kon nie die volgende stream hebben nie. Dis fine, Jaden. Don't stress it, dubbel. Kan julle my mooi hoor? Kan julle die Ricard mooi hoor? Yes, ek kan nie daai ou se naam of goeders lees nie. Sorry. Sorry, I really can't understand what you're saying there. I can't read it. I can't speak your language. So if you can maybe just type in English perhaps. Haha. Streambot, hy is nou besig, sorry. My bad. Dis bietjie wyd. Kom nou, jy is so voor my in die skerm, ou wil. Nee. Lekker mos, my vriend, wat sê jy? My ou, rarag, julle gooi altyd 'n klomp crappie voor my. Lekker mos, julle welkom. Hoe gaan met jou, Henlo? Hier by die werk, so kom loer net gou in. Hey, my vriend. Ek waardeer. Is jy nie afgewees nie? Of was jy klaar afgewees? So kalm soos 'n... Okay. Met Gila, hey Henlo, dit gaan nie sleg nie, dankie hoor. Was klaar af sy vlieg, nee, een nou. Hierdie kar sal ons nou maklik gelei op baie draai, hè? Die laaste keer dat ek hierdie baan gery het, ek nog Ferrari gery. I'll be back, is doodreg dakkie. Kan nie wag vir een van jou streams weer. Tyres is nie warm genoeg nie, soos ons nou maar die tyres stel. Dan net so 'n bietjie hard ry, kyk wat maak hulle. Kan nie wag vir een van jou streams weer in die wy. Ja jong, die Dubai is 'n ander man met streaming hoor, hy is 'n born natural, dis verseker. Binnekort. Ek dink ek verloor baie tyd met dit wat ek nou doen. Gila is my nommer 1 streamer, want ek kyk by tweede een. Cryptic, jou legend. Maar hy die boord ons draai lekker te gooi. As jy gewoond raak aan dit, ja. As jy gewoond is aan dit nie, is dit nog ons 'n probleem. Is bietjie wyd. Die ding se gat glyf my oop, hulle is te vinnig, te veel te gou. Ek like dit nie. Dis te kort. Kan nie wag vir so wil nie gaan. Haha. Dit sal awesome wees, my vriend. Jy moet daarin kry so gou so nou. Waar gaan jy, karretjie? As hy tyre so warm soos 'n tannie wat al uit net 'n pak slaag gee met 'n slipper. Se boude. Hier is mos niks grip op hierdie kar nie. Hy het mos niks grip op hierdie kar nie. Retro, what a legend! What a legend! Ek probeer my vriend finansies lyk maar wild van julle af. Of van jullie af, maar ons vertrou. My vriend, ja. Retro, dit gaan goed. Hoe gaan dit met jou? Yo, lekker urban. Hey, Don, what a legend. Don, thanks for the membership. I appreciate it, buddy. Jeez, what a guy. What a guy. Thanks so much, Don. I appreciate it. Let's go. Time for president. 100%. Let's go. Jeez, Don, I do appreciate it so much. Thanks for the support. Jy is a legend. Ek weet nie hoekom kom die notification nie op nie. Dis bietjie wyd. Ja, dis bietjie hierof. Dis bietjie hierof. flat daardeur gaan. Ek gaan loer gou by meneer Sout in, hou terug. Geniet dit, sê vir hom ek stuur groete. Ek wonder wat sê meneer die president vanaand. Ek dink ek gaan ons sommer maar aansit en luister wat hy sê terwyl ek ry, dat ek hoor wat sê die man. Yes, gaan ons bietjie oefen, daar sê, ek dink ons moet, ek dink ons moet. Wat sê, John, welkom, buddy. Yes, dis bietjie kort. Track limits, amper. Mense welkom by die stream, ek hoop gegroep met julle, ek weet nie wie kyk nie, ek weet nie hoeveel kyk nie. 157, eers, dis vinnig hoor. Lekker Kiyo, wat sê, welkom. Ricard geleef hy hopeloos te veel. Hy kyk nog lekker. Kiyo, julle welkom. John Ray, buddy. Lekker. Nathan, wat sê jy? Gila, hoe laat praat die president? 8 uur, nou, 9 minute. So ek gaan die kar van die klank van die kar bietjies agtersin sal ek die president aansit. Dan kan julle nog steeds kyk en omhoor. Hoe klink daai vir julle? Karl, check vir Vin Diesel. Nee, Balwalker. Wat sê jy? Vloertyd op daai draai. Is bietjie warm. Sheesh. Kyle. Vin Diesel het nie hare op sy koppie. Jo. Ek weet nie wat ek daar aanvang nie, maar dis die reggie. Wat sê julle mense, welkom by die stream. Jo, Tokyo Drift. Lekker inflicted. Ek het Forza Ryzen gekry, dit is nie sleg nie. Hulle sê dit is baie goed hoor. Jee, waar gaan jy, karretjie? Het gaan alright, buddy, dit gaan alright, dankie. Hoe gaan het met jou? Is jy al terug by die huis? Dit is bietjie kort. Ons gaan eerder net gou so. Then to garage, setup, current. Die wiele, het is 'n bietjie warmer. Save. Save. So, kom ons kry gou 'n president stream daar so aan die gang, wat ons kan hoor wat sê die man. Let's go there. 4 minute. Ja, my maat was lang pad. Yes, ek kan dink, Appington is nie hier om die draai nie. Dis 'n pakkie wyd hoor. Seker. So wat ek gaan doen is, ek gaan hier aansit. Die tyres gaan nou lekker koud wees. Julle as julle iemand vreemd oor praat, sê net vir my ek moet oor switch. Kry 'n bietjie die tyres warm. Een ding, daai STE het lang pad. Met ander woorde, maak hy die lang pad kort, of soek hy nie lang pad nie? Ek verstaan nie hoe party mense Ek verstaan nie hoe party mense so agteraf kan wees. Okay, wag, waar is ons nou? Waar is ons nou? By skool, waar is ons nou? Ek het geen idee waarvan jy praat nie. Ek's nie by nie. Wat het nou gebeur? Flynn, I'm good, how are you? How's it, buddy? Lekker, welkom. Geen pyn en geloop so stroop. Daar sê, dis mos wat 'n man wil hoor. Hy het soos wit gebrand. Joe. Parmantig hou dingetjie. Hier gaat ons alweer. Good, just studying for English Lit. How are you? I'm good, thanks. I'm really good. The fact that you're watching the stream while you're studying means that you're actually just watching YouTube videos and not studying. But it's okay. How's the studying going? Hey! Fellow South Africans. Praat hy al? Yeah, just finishing up. Came to say hello. I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much. Sal 'n bietjie later, buddy. Dankie. Dankie vir julle roer. Soos byvoorbeeld iemand wat 'n streamer sleg sê. Oh. O, hy praat.
The number of deaths has been declining steadily as has the number of people requiring hospitalization. The total number of new hospital admissions has also declined.
Kan julle my hoor terwyl hy praat? Sê ja, sê nee. Ek luister.
We owe this to the decisive measures that we took early in the pandemic.
Soos byvoorbeeld iemand wat 'n streamer sleg sê, maar dan nog sy stream kyk en maak of hy supporter is en kyk.
Has made in fighting this virus.
Okay.
We owe this also to the frontline workers who have selflessly and steadfastly and also courageously staffed our medical facilities, gone out into communities to screen and to test, who have also had the courage to continue serving our people. And in doing so, we know that our people have benefited a great deal. For more than 2 months now, yes, the virus has declined significantly. And as it has declined, we have also...
Hy is weer terug. Lekker klik. Bitter snaaks om my stream te lei en live TV.
We should be proud of our response as a nation, which has been widely recognized and been commended. I had a virtual meeting yesterday with several international business leaders whose companies operate in many countries across the world. They all applauded the manner in which South Africa has managed the pandemic. While this is welcome progress, we must, however, acknowledge that this pandemic has so far taken a great toll on the health and well-being of our people. To date, South Africa has recorded more than 742,000 coronavirus cases. Of these people, over 92% have recovered from this disease. This is a phenomenal achievement.
Wat gebeur met die views? Zero, hoe bedoel jy nou?
Suffered since the start of this pandemic are the confirmed deaths of 20,011 people due to COVID-19. While we have a relatively low fatality rate compared to many other countries, we cannot begin to calculate the loss as well as the anguish that these deaths have caused to families and to the friends of those who have departed. Since the beginning of this crisis, our goal has been both to save lives and to protect the livelihoods of South Africans. As we rebuild our economy in the midst of this pandemic,
Ja, zero.
this must remain our overriding concern. Although infections have stabilized, many people are still getting infected every day, and we remain vulnerable. We are seeing now how quickly and how dramatically infections can rise in a number of countries. We are also seeing how health systems can become overwhelmed in the face of rising infections. The rise in infections in some of these countries has led to the reimposition of tough restrictions. We have also seen in other countries how a resurgence can dash the hopes for a swift economic recovery. We must do everything that we can to prevent this from happening in South Africa. If we are to prevent a resurgence of infections in our country, there are a few areas that we must pay attention to. The first is the situation in the Eastern Cape, which is showing signs of a resurgence. In the last week, the number of new cases in the province was 50% higher than the week before. This is concerning. And the total number of new cases in the last 14 days
Die regte mense
was
moet net jou
around
stream vind. Ja.
145% higher than the previous 14 days. These
Seriously.
increases are being driven by massive spikes in the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro and the Sarah Baartman district in particular. For the last month, there has been a sustained upward increase in hospital admissions in the province. The evidence suggests that the increases in the Eastern Cape could have been triggered by outbreaks in institutions of higher learning, such as universities, and also in schools, and attendance by people at large gatherings. When this is combined with poor adherence to social distancing, mask wearing, and other poor hygiene measures, the environment is for rising infections is set. With many people moving between the Eastern Cape and other provinces, particularly the Western Cape, it is a matter of time before this surge spreads to other parts of the country. We therefore need to take measures to contain this rise in infections.
Ag, yes.
In response to the rising infections, we are implementing the resurgence plan that has been developed together with the surge team that was deployed to our country by the World Health Organization. Interventions that we've come up with include primary health care outreach teams to intensify contact tracing, daily community mobilization, ensuring the readiness of health facilities in the province, and being ready to respond to possible cluster outbreaks. We will be working closely with the provincial government, also with municipalities and other institutions in the
Sorry, julle ek try maar net luister terwyl ek
in
so
the
ry.
coming days and weeks to ensure that this surge
Ek sal net vir 'n
is
bietjie oefen.
contained and managed. What we are witnessing in the Eastern Cape should, in essence, be a wake-up call to all of us that we cannot relax and we cannot be complacent about our approach to COVID-19. We are therefore also closely monitoring developments in areas that are experiencing higher than average rates of new infections. The areas where we are experiencing higher than average rates of new infections include Lijueliputswa and Mangaung in the Free State, Francis Baard and Pixley, Kaisa Kaseme in the Northern Cape, and the Garden Route and Cape Town Metro in the Western Cape. To ensure that we can keep all the necessary prevention
Dis so terug retro,
measures
dankie hoor.
in place, we are, as required by the Disaster Management Act, extending the national state of disaster by another month to the 15th of December 2020. The second area of concern that we need to pay attention to is the upcoming festive season in our country, during which time many South Africans travel to other parts of the country and where people tend to relax and to gather socially. These activities, if not undertaken responsibly, pose the greatest immediate threat to our management of the pandemic. But we can avoid a second wave if we each play our part, if we remember what we need to do to keep ourselves and others safe. From the big cities and the metros to the smallest towns and villages, we all know about this virus. Information about this virus has been abundantly socialized among South Africans. From the grade R learner to the factory worker, from the university student to the grandparent at home, we all know how the coronavirus can be spread. So what I'm asking of each and every one of you this evening is not something new. I'm asking you to do what we all know must be done. We know that this virus is transmitted when we are in close contact with other people. Let us remember that it is transmitted in small particles from our noses, from our mouths,
Jy hoef nie weer te verduidelik
when we
hoe die
speak,
ding versprei nie, president.
or even breathe
Jy
heavily.
is besig om tyd te
We
mors.
also know that we need to protect ourselves and those around us. We also know that we need to wear a mask. A cloth mask worn over the nose and the mask and the mouth rather is still one of the best defenses against the spread of coronavirus.
Lekker oor die baan.
Now I know that this can at times be a hassle. Masks can be hot and they can be cumbersome.
Lekker kous, ek sê net hallo, ek moet nou gaan stort. As hy lekker kous, dankie vir die inloer.
Particularly during the summer months. Masks also make it difficult to recognize other people or to hear clearly what they are saying. I've also had difficulty in recognizing some people when they are wearing masks. But cloth masks are cheap. They can now be found almost anywhere in our country. And the inconvenience of wearing one is far, far, far better than becoming infected or infecting others. Wearing a mask every time we leave home is far, far better than having a second wave. It is also far better than a return to lockdown and better than having to shut down our economy once again. A number of outbreaks have been linked to indoor gatherings where there is poor ventilation and where there is no social distancing. Of course, with the festive season approaching, it is understandable that we all want to be with family, we want to be with friends. It has been
Especially now
stressful
met
and
die hele
traumatic
lockdown
year
en mense het nie hulle
that
families
we've all
gesien
gone
nie en
We want to socialize, we want to connect with each other and forget the troubles and tribulations of 2020. But this does not mean that we should let our guard down against this virus. We must remember that every additional person we come into contact with increases the chances of transmission. We should seriously avoid large gatherings. We should rather meet in small groups, and if we go out, we should limit contact with others. I have personally been increasingly getting concerned and alarmed by what I keep seeing in social media and on television, where people are holding big parties, where they go to big gatherings and social events as though the virus does not exist, where they go to shebeens and taverns and dance up the whole night as though the virus does not exist. I've been seeing images of indoor venues crowded with people who are not wearing masks and with no evidence of social distancing. These are super spreader events that must be avoided because this is dangerous behavior. The same rules that applied in the early days of the lockdown should also apply now. And now that we are in summer, it is far
Weet jy wat julle so stil?
to meet outdoors or in rooms with windows that are open to allow ventilation to come through the rooms. As we have said before, we need to utilize various tools in our coronavirus toolbox to fight this virus. We can also use technology to fight the virus. I call on every South African to join the 700,000 South Africans who have downloaded COVID Alert as a mobile app. The COVID Alert app can notify you if you've been exposed to the virus.
Ja,
Whether
gaan jy die
it
app
is in a
download nie.
taxi, a shopping mall, or a social gathering. And it does so without sharing your location or any of your personal information. The app is zero rated by mobile networks, so it won't cost you anything to protect yourself and others. By downloading this app, you help to make the virus visible and break the chain of transmission. We would like, therefore, to appeal to all organizations to encourage their staff, to encourage their visitors, to download the app when they enter their offices, their shops, their schools, universities, or other enclosed facilities or spaces.
Ja, is die nuwe Audi
In addition to
2021
these
edition.
actions, we should all take to prevent a resurgence. We are strengthening our public intervention with regard to health. Testing is essential if we are successfully to prevent a resurgence. Without the severe capacities constraints we have had a few months ago, we are now working to significantly increase the number of tests that are done each day. All hospitals, both public and private, should test hospitalized patients in line with the
Lekker hamster, wat sê jy? Welkom.
We will also be expanding community screening and testing in hotspot areas. An effective and safe vaccine is still our greatest defense against COVID-19. And there are now several candidate vaccines in development across the world. Equitable access to an effective vaccine is vital to the successful containment of this pandemic. Earlier this week, the world witnessed a game changer in the world of science regarding the development of a vaccine. This is the first evidence that an effective vaccine against coronavirus is possible, and that the preliminary data from the research suggests that it may be more than 90% effective. Now, this changes our perspective on the future of the coronavirus pandemic. This development brings new hope in our fight against the virus. South Africa is collaborating with several multinational pharmaceutical companies to obtain a safe and effective vaccine for our people, and we are contributing towards the availability of a vaccine in the rest of the continent. We are working through the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to acquire and to fund a vaccine for the African continent. It is estimated that our continent, Africa, will need around $12 billion and 750 million doses of an effective vaccine. Earlier this week, in my capacity as chairperson of the African Union, I established the COVID-19 African Vaccine Acquisition Task Team to lead this effort. Our Minister of Health, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, will serve on this task team together with other outstanding citizens of our continent. South Africa has also been appointed as a co-chair of the global ACTA initiative that is facilitating access to innovative interventions, including vaccines for all countries.
Ja, my bande is baie warm.
Are going to have to allocate funding so that there can be access to vaccines to prevent the further spread of the virus. In recognition of our country's manufacturing capacity, one of the leading pharmaceutical companies in the world, Johnson & Johnson, has entered into a preliminary agreement with a local company, Aspen Pharmacare, to manufacture and package its candidate vaccine. Aspen has capacity to manufacture 300 million doses of the candidate vaccine at its Nelson Mandela Bay plant in Port Elizabeth. This life-saving medical product will be needed across the world, and it will be manufactured here in South Africa by South African workers. And obviously, we are bidding very hard to have an uptake of the product that will be produced here in our own country. This is in addition to the progress made by BioVac, a local biopharmaceutical company that is in partnership with the South African government. BioVac is in advanced discussion with an international vaccine manufacturer that would also enable it to locally manufacture a COVID-19 vaccine to ensure sufficient supply for our country and to our continent. Fellow South Africans, from the outset of this crisis, we have sought to both save lives and protect livelihoods, as we have said. That is why in April we introduced a massive economic and social relief package to limit the effects of the pandemic on companies, on workers, on households, and on our communities. This intervention was essential to keep our businesses afloat, to protect jobs, and to prevent millions of people.
Okay, ek het nou genoeg vir jou geluister. Nie lelik bedoel nie. Kom ons kom weer terug waar ons was. Kom ons gaan. Ja, Jaden. Sosiale groete, dankie, ek verdeer. Pak hom terug. Welcome back. Mensdom, jy laks moeg vanaand. Ek gaan dit 'n vroeë stream maak. Ek wil net 'n bietjie oefen dit op die stream. Wow! Dit moes nie gebeur het nie. Lost connection. Okay. Zijn nog steeds bezig.
Nearly 53 billion to over 4.7 million workers. These relief measures were necessary to protect those.
Okay.
Green light.
No! No! Damn it, you son of a gun! Ai. Nou eers klaar geleer vir die aand. Nou chill ek lekker, retro. Welkom, welkom. Wat leer jy? Tristan, welkom. Hoe gaan het met jou? Yellow flag, yellow flag. Hehehe. Gaan goed rustig, baie dankie. Jy jou ander hoodie gekry? Kleer een weer, maar ek skryf het op my verjaarsdag, baie lekker. Ooh, when's your birthday? Gila, ek gaan maar membership los en eerder die koop kersies. Is dit reg? 100%. Okay, dan is ek bly jy het, Tristan. Ek gaan Gilas hoodie, Dubai Gaming hoodie en Saltsen. Das sy legend. Goeie idee, ek dink is 'n goeie idee. Damn it. In November leer en som op want ek skryf G. Ah. Okay. Okay. breek ek te laat, dan breek ek te vroeg. Ja. Ek is baie sloppy. Ons sê 'n goeie execution nie. Ek sê weer maandag ek neem aan geo geskiedenis. Dit 'n goeie lap in, man. Kom nou. Wat 58 is 'n goeie tyd hou. Yes. Laat gaan gelo stream en as ek 'n goeie tyd opsit dan gaan ek en julle ek bietjie moeg vanaand. Ek wil 'n bietjie rustig wees. Ek wil 'n bietjie vroeër in die bed kan klip vanaand. Ek eintlik maar net bietjie kom oefen met die kar op Paul Ricard. Ek ken die baan al raai terug, maar ek het nog nie met hierdie kar op hom gery nie. So daar's 'n goeie tyd. Ek gaan eers baie seker volgende keer retro vreeslik baie dankie vir julle vanaand. Ek waardeer dit so baie. Ek het so lekker vinnige kort chickies uur stream gedoen. 157.8 is vinnig. It's quick, man. That's quick. That's quick, man. Okay. Ek weet dit is net so vinnige kort vlugtige stream gewees. Maar dan gaan julle verlaat. Julle moet regtig 'n lekker aand hê. Ek moet net 'n bietjie kom oefen net. Dit was nodig. Ek wou nou nie môre aand gesukkel het en so ek het die setup gedoen en al daai goeie so ek's happy. Hoeveel ure moet ek hê om my ander blou ding te hê? Ek het net die naam vergeet. O, die moderator. 70. Lekker aand, julle sien môre aand. Ja, julle moet lekker slaap. Geniet julle dag môre. Julle moet veilig wees. Ek gaan julle definitief in die volgende een sien. Tot dan, wees veilig. En hou dit Afrikaans. Cheers.
Dancing on the moon. I bet my life you'll be dancing on the moon. I bet my life you'll be dancing on the moon. I bet my life you'll be dancing on the moon. Dancing on the moon. Don't forget who you are. Don't lose your head or your heart. I bet my life on your stars. You'll be dancing, dancing.